How you doing? My name is Matt Balducci, the CEO and host of the Slight Edge Network. What we're going to cover today is how to land your dream job. So I want to tell you a real quick story. So actually about a year ago, one of my friends came to me, and he's a teacher. And ultimately what he told me was that he would keep getting to the final round interview at all these really prestigious schools, and he would not get the job. And it was actually weighing on him very, very much so, because the job he had, which was a decent teacher job, was kind of in the lower tier of salaries and things like that, and he really wanted to upgrade and double his income. And he came to me because I interview hundreds of thousands of students over the last 10 years, and I have a lot of different techniques and trainings and things like that on interviewing. And ultimately he came to me just as a friend and said, Matt, what tips can you give me? What it came down to is I walked him through kind of what I would do in an interview. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step on how to interview and how to land that dream job. So the first thing you need to do is when you walk in the door is you need to smile. Now understand, if you walk into a job interview and you kind of shuffle into the room and you don't look excited to be there, then that's an instant first impression, and first impressions mean more than you know. So that's number one, is you need to smile. Number two is you have to have done your research before you came in to the job interview. You need to know all about the company. You need to know who you're interviewing with, and there's so many different ways you can do that. Obviously LinkedIn is an easy one, and you need to know their background. Number three is when you sit down, the first thing you want to do with that person that's interviewing you is build a relationship. So again, that is building a rapport. So what I highly recommend doing is ask them questions about themselves, right? And it could be start off light, don't jump into, hey, how'd you become successful? So the first thing I would do is just ask them how they're doing. Maybe ask them if they have kids, but basically figuring out a little bit about who you're interviewing with. You do not want to ask them questions about the job yet, okay? So the next thing that I highly recommend for this, and I recommended to my friend, was once you do those things, then ultimately your resume, you do not need to talk about it. Your resume already does the job for you. It already tells you basically who you are, what you've accomplished, and so on. And so many people, they come into their interview and the first thing they want to do is talk about everything on their resume. And then they just throw up all about themselves onto you. And you're like, well, okay, I read that already. I knew that about you. So what you want to do is actually use your resume as your key into the door, which if you have an interview, that means they like you. That means they already have looked at your resume and you qualify for the job. They would not have wasted their time bringing you in if you weren't a quality candidate. So what you're gonna wanna do now is have examples of why you're great and why you're a great fit for the interview or for the company. What does that look like when you're sitting in front of somebody interviewing you? Essentially, when you first walk in the door, you're smiling. You're basically asking them questions about themselves, and I start that right when I meet them. So if we're walking through a hallway, I'm just building a relationship, building rapport, because likability is key. If they like you, they're gonna listen to you and they're gonna pick the candidate they like most. You better believe that every candidate in that job rank probably has a very similar resume to you, and ultimately they're gonna pick the person that fits the culture at the company. Once you have that though, and you're sitting down, and they already know all about you, now you want to ask them questions about the company. And what you want to do is already have done your research, so that way when you sit down with them, you can actually walk through how you're going to benefit the company by them hiring you, versus just telling them stats on your sheet that they already know. So what you're going to want to do is give past examples of things that you've done that are going to help at this new company. And you can use keywords and different things like that, especially depending on the industry you're going into. And so that way they already know you've done your research, which shows initiative, and that you already are thinking about yourself in the role. And what I do is I do assumptive sales, which is basically I use words like, when I'm here, when I'm working with you guys. So what time do you guys have lunch? Because I'm excited to have lunch with you guys. And I'm doing a lot of assumptive things to basically start putting in their head that they're gonna hire me. So here's the biggest key now. It's at the very end. So you went through this interview, they asked you all the typical interview questions, you answered them, you built rapport, they like you, all this stuff. You gotta close the interview. At the end, they always say, do you have any questions? And I say yes. And what I do is, if you watch my video on how to handle the 5 objections in sales, it actually correlates directly into this video. So the first thing I ask is, hey guys, so after meeting me today, do you think that I'm a good fit for this role? If they say yes, that's step 1, right? Then I'm gonna say, obviously at your company, you guys know your culture better than I do. Do you think I would fit into your culture? There's step 2. So the first thing is, do they like me? Second one, right, comes down to, am I the right fit, the right product? Okay. And then now I'm gonna go into, hey, when are you guys looking to hire? Are you guys ready to go right now? So now I'm figuring out, are they in the buyer's mindset? Are they already making decisions on who they're gonna hire? How many people have they interviewed? You can go down that path. And then the next one is this. After meeting me today, reading my resume, am I the right package for the role? Do you think that I would succeed in this job that you're offering? And now when they say yes, 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 you're gonna close. And here's the closing question you wanna ask. If you guys like me, I would fit the culture here, I'm the right fit for the job, and you guys are ready to hire somebody, why don't you hire me and save you guys some time? That's how you close an interview. Now, some people don't have the balls to do that. I did that in all 8 of my interviews, and here's the deal. They're not gonna all of a sudden jump out of their chair and go, you got the job. But you better believe I got calls within, some people did. Out of those 8 job interviews, I think 2 of them gave me the job on the spot, and the other 5 gave me a phone call within literally 24 hours. And honestly, I think it's because they saw the confidence and the boldness I had that I really wanted the job. Versus get to the end, what most people do in their interviews, and it kind of drives me insane, is they don't ask why the person wouldn't hire them. Because ultimately, you're never gonna get better at something if you don't know what's different or what you're gonna do. So these are the tips I gave to my friend. He came to me, and like I said, here's the cool part. 2 weeks later, he started the job interview process again, which if you guys know teachers, they actually only interview once a year because of the school year. And he doubled his income from $40,000 to $80,000 as a teacher, which is pretty good income for a teacher. And he did it just by using these techniques. So I highly recommend, guys, following this system, and you'll get whatever job you want. Now again, you have to do all the other work to get your foot in the door. Your resume does that, you have to go get experience, all those things, but once you're in the door, this is how you get that job. So good luck. Put in the comments if you try this out and you actually get a job from it. I would really, really love to see that. And if one person sees this video and they get their dream job because of learning this system, that would mean the world to me. So subscribe below, comment, like my Facebook page, all the goodies. I'm excited to continue teaching you guys some different things, and I hope this helped. Thank you.